Acts chapter 3. I want to read this real quick. William, are you up there? Yeah. Okay, good. I want to read our text, and then I have a quick video, it's relatively quick, that I want us to watch first. Verse 1 of chapter 3. One day Peter and John were going up to the temple at the time of prayer at 3 p.m. Now a man who was lame from birth was being carried to the temple gate called Beautiful, where he was put every day to beg from those going into the temple courts. When he saw Peter and John about to enter, he asked them for money. Peter looked straight at him, as did John, and Peter said, "Look at us." So the man gave them his attention, expecting to get something from them. Then Peter said, "Silver or gold I do not have, but what I do have I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, walk." Taking him by the right hand, he helped him up, and instantly the man's feet and ankles became strong. He jumped to his feet and began to walk. Then he went with them into the temple courts, walking and jumping and praising God. When all the people saw him walking and praising God, they recognized him as the same man who used to be sitting begging at the temple gate called Beautiful. And they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to him. If you need a Kleenex, it's okay, so do I. Silver and gold have I none, but what I have, I give to you. And, you know, this guy who was taken to the temple gates, he was just there for money. He wasn't there to be healed. There was no intent on his part to get anything but money, to maybe get a little piece of bread, to maybe get a meal. He was just there to get some help. And how often do we pass people on the street and we start judging? And is, oh, I'm not giving them any money because all they'll do is they'll go buy beer with it, or they'll just go buy cigarettes with it, or they'll go buy drugs with it. I know they're not any good. Really? Do you know that? Do you know that? What about, oh, well, I'm not giving to that because that's worthless. Really? Do you know all there is to know about whatever that is? When someone's in need, are you willing to help? Maybe it's not money. We equate too much to money. And we don't understand that we have other things to give. You have wisdom to give. You have knowledge that you can give. It's not just about money. It's about a helping hand. And I'm going to kind of bring some light to someone who doesn't like to be in the light. And I know that, and I apologize, brother, for early on, but I'm going to bring it out anyway. Chris tells me all the time, I wish I could help more. And if you need something done physical, you need something moved, that's the man. I watched him go to Steve Weidman's house and pick up a water heater. I did my part. There was a brass hose. I got what I could do. This man picked up the water heater. Brother, you have plenty to give. Don't ever lose focus on that. You have plenty to give. I hear from some of our seniors, well, what can I do? You have wisdom. You have wisdom. You also have time. And that you can share with someone who's in need just of a hug. Far too often we think, oh, well, this is going to cost this, is going to cost this, and it's going to take up this. What about just a hug? What about a listening ear? Someone to just come and talk to. Silver and gold have I none, but what I have, I give to you. I think far too often we see a need and we think, well, if I throw money at it, it'll be fine. That's not always the case. It is on occasion, but that's not always the case. God doesn't want your money. He wants your heart. He wants you. And there's lots of needs to fill inside the church and outside the church. What about at your workplace? So here's one for you. At lunchtime, you're off clock. So you are no longer responsible for the rules of the company per se. So who's leading the lunchtime Bible study? I'll wait. And here's how you start it. Go into the lunchroom and start reading your Bible. And wait till somebody comes and says, hey, what are you doing? I'm reading my Bible. Oh, that's cool. What are you reading? Conversation started. How did it happen with Philip and the eunuch? Philip came up to the chariot and said, what are you doing? He said, I'm reading. He said, okay, do you understand what you're reading? He said, how can I unless somebody tells me? Bang. So Philip gave him $100 and walked away. No. Philip said, yeah, man, I ain't giving you no information because I know what you're going to do with it. You're going to waste it, so I'm out. No. He started in the place that the eunuch was reading, and he taught him about Jesus. And then they came up to a place where there was water, and he says, here is water. What hindereth me from being baptized? Yep, that's the King James. What keeps me from being baptized? He says, if you believe, you may. And Philip and the eunuch both went down into the water. Philip gave him what he had. What did he have? He had Jesus. And he gave him Jesus. It's not about money, folks. It is, I mean, like I said, there's a part for money. Money's important. It is. But what did God do with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish? He fed 5,000 people, or 10,000, or 7,850, or whatever was there. 5,000 men. Probably close to 15,000 people. It doesn't matter the number. God did it. And from whose faith? Oh, got it. I get this. From the faith of the disciples, he fed all these people. From the obedience of the disciples, he fed all these people. Anybody believe that? Please don't raise your hand. From the faith of a child, a little boy who brought his little lunch up and says, this is what I have. This is what I have. Jesus, I don't have gold. I don't have shekels. I don't have silver. But I've got 5 pieces of bread and 2 fish, and this was my lunch, and I'm willing to share. And Jesus multiplied that into a blessing unlike anything they had ever seen. He opened the windows of heaven, and he poured out a blessing on them, more than they could contain. And then 12 baskets full of little pieces of fish and that had to be disgusting, little pieces of fish and bread. Why 12? I have a very theologically sound answer for why 12. 1 for each disciple to carry. There you go. There's the deep theological answer for that question right there. For them to carry. For them, that's it. But for them to have, they were also cared for. You know, I'm going to take this completely out of context, but we put out a need for hot dogs. We're going to need hot dogs this next week. Okay? And right now, I think we're sitting on about 500 or 600 hot dogs. Okay. At 1 per person, I'm in. I'm in. Can you imagine if 500 people come through our little carnival on Saturday, what the opportunities are there for us to do? We're going to need workers. We're going to need people to go out there and man those rides. We're going to need people to go out there, most importantly, to go out there and introduce themselves to the visitors and say, do you know Jesus Christ? I can't give you money. I can't give you stuff. But what I can do is I can give you what I've got. I've got Jesus, and I want to share him with you. Why is that hard? Why is that hard? So many people tell me, well, you know, Billy, I know that you just go up there and you just love on people and you can just explode on them and you've got all this training and all this experience and you've got all this stuff. You can do all this, but I just can't. Why? Why? Can you not tell someone what Jesus has done for you? Silver and gold have I none, but what I have I give to you. I have Jesus, so I'm going to give him to you. Well, who's this Jesus to you? Answer the question. He's my Savior. Without him, I'd have nothing. I would be nothing. I'd have nothing. He has blessed me beyond anything I can ever imagine. Brothers and sisters, I tell you what, when I came out of the Army in 1996, I had a wife and a 2-year-old daughter. I had nothing. Zero. 2 years later, I still had most of it. And God blessed me with a job that led to a job that led to a job that led to a job of where I am today. And he has blessed me. And this is not prosperity gospel. I'm not saying accept Jesus Christ and he'll do all this for you. That's not what I'm saying. God took care of me and he will take care of you also. He does not bless everyone at the same level. Okay? Some get more, some get less, but all are blessed. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. Okay? That should be a shirt. Mike, there's a shirt. Some get more, some get less, but all are blessed. Okay, Mike, Danny, put that down. It's not about coming up and saying, here's a need, here's $100. Here's a need, here's $100. It's not there, folks. There are times when somebody is hurting so bad that all they need is you. Can you give them you for 10 minutes. Husbands, men, I'm going to pick on you for just a second. Sometimes, no, sorry ladies, most of the time, your wife does not need to be fixed, okay? What they need is you to be the support that they need, and they need a hug. Okay? They just need you to be there and to listen. That got loud over here. Wow. Sharina, sit down. Kish, did you hear that? Brother, I hope you're watching this video, man. Yeah, exactly. Danny just walked out of the building, okay? They need you, okay? Okay, now I'm going to pick on the wives. I'm not done, okay? Ladies, there are times when your husband is going to be stressed. He is going to have issues. There will be things on his heart. He is the high priest, he is the priest, not high priest. He is the priest of your home. There's going to be a lot of stress, pressure on him. Sometimes he just needs you to listen. He just needs you to be there. Silver and gold have I none, but what I have, I give to you. Men, I promise you this, 33 years of experience, okay? When your wife is in a bad place, $200 does not fix it, okay? It might get the hair done, it might get the nails done, but it doesn't fix it. It doesn't replace you in her life, okay? Yes, here's some marital counseling, okay? Straight out of the Bible. You know, your presence is so very important. When we have VBS, all the money that's poured into VBS, all that stuff is great. It is. But it does not equal the value of the time and fellowship that we have together while we're putting it all together. And it's the people's presence that matters. Being there. That's what really matters. So let's go back to our story here. So Peter says in verse 4, he looked straight at the man and he said, look at me. He wasn't saying, man, come on, look at us. We ain't got nothing. That is not what he said. He wanted his attention. Peter just wanted the beggar's attention. And sometimes when we're counseling, when we're helping people, we have to say, okay, slow down, stop for a moment, look at me. Just let's go eye to eye now, okay? Now I have your attention. Now let's, what's the word? Talk. You listen, I talk, I listen, you talk. Back and forth communication. He was simply trying to get the man's attention. Because the man's going, help, I need, help me. He said, son, let's go eye to eye. He said, I don't have any money, but listen to me now. What I do have, I'm going to give you. I'm not throwing you out. I'm not casting you aside. I want you to hear me now. Rise and walk. And this man had to be, if he'd have just said, just walked by him, this guy's going, gentlemen, please help me. He said, rise and walk. He might have, but where's the benefit of that? Who gets the glory in that? The guy who did it. Peter and John made sure that God got the glory in that situation. God gets the glory in every situation. When things are good, we give God the glory. When things are bad, we give God the glory. When things are we give God the glory. We don't forget God when things are great and go run to God when things are bad. We need God in our lives at all times. We need to remember that He is the source of all blessings. He is the source of all teaching, of all discipline. These are good things that we need. There are times where we're going to need to be disciplined. And the Bible says that if God doesn't discipline, doesn't discipline you, he doesn't love you. Let that sink in. If you do not go through times of discipline from God, you are not his. Let that sink in for just a moment. I'm sure that what's going through a lot of people's minds right now is, oh, discipline. I'm ready now. I've been fighting to God, but come on, let's go. Discipline me now. Here's my belt. Here, let me get this. Come on, here. You know? By the way, when I was a child, my mom and dad treated ADHD with BELT. Yeah, it's a very effective method, by the way. Very effective. But no, God disciplines us. He does. He disciplines us. He gets us back into his will. You know, sometimes you have to take a child who's running off this way, and you go and you get them and you bring them back. Sometimes there's an encouragement, but you bring them back into where they need your will at that point, okay? And God does that with us. And we run off to the toy department, and God goes and gets us, and he brings us back. And we run off to the candy department, and we come. God gets us, and he brings us back. And he disciplines us. Our need at that moment is the discipline of God to keep us in the center of his will. We must stay there. This church will go nowhere really fast without discipline and the will of God. We have to pray and seek God's will for our lives. Students, you're going nowhere in life if you get outside of the will of God. I'm just being dead serious with you. You think, well, I know where I'm going. I'm going to Baylor College of Medicine. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a rich doctor. Not witch doctor, rich doctor. That's an R in there. I'm going to be a rich doctor. And off we go. I'm going to be wealthy as all get out. After you pay that $250,000 school bill. If it's God's will, the doors will be open. It was such a blessing to watch Lorna struggle, and please don't misunderstand me here, struggle with her college decisions. None of them were made just like this. They were all very carefully planned out. She talked with me. I know she talked with Mike, and she talked with Danny about different things, and we all prayed with her, and we were constantly in prayer with her, seeking God's will. She went to some really good colleges, and she checked out the University of Texas. She checked out Texas Tech. She checked out U of H. She went to some colleges that are okay. She went to A&M. And I just wanted the side eye from Mike. That's what I was looking for. And Sherry, of course. No, excellent university. I like to pick, but it is. But she went to all these schools, and then she went to Abilene Christian. And she said, I felt God there. God spoke to me there. And we're like, well, the decision's made. We know where you're going now. Okay, God spoke to you, and she is thriving. And also, her financial burden is minimal at best. A lot of that is because of your generosity towards her. But she sought God's will. And this is a 17-year-old young lady, and we've got 57-year-old men who wander off on their own, try to do things outside of God's will, and try to force God to do things without asking, without praying, without seeking God's face first. But a 17-year-old can teach us that much. If you will seek God's will and stay in his will, he will bless you. I love this verse of 6 when Peter says, silver or gold I do not have, but what I do have, I give to you. I know I'm hammering this, but I really want you to get this. This is life application, folks. This is life application. You need to seek God's will in every aspect of your life. Now, I'm not saying you need to get God's will on, do I go to Kroger's, do I go to H-E-B? Okay, I'm not talking about that. All right? But what job am I going to take? How big should my family be? You know, there's some big decisions. What college do I go to? Do I go to college? Would I be better off at trade school? There's so many things in your life that God needs to, so many things that God doesn't need to be, but so many things God needs to be in the middle of it. Okay? The dead middle of it. Do I buy a car? What did God say? I'd love a new truck. I got a truck out there. It's over here. Okay, directional dyslexia. Sometimes the backs come out wordwards. I've got a truck. Got 256,000 miles on it. Runs great. His fault. He put 240,000 on it. Second hand. He was the first hand. I'm the second hand. It runs. It gets me where I need to go. It is a blessing. Do I want another truck? Yes. Do I need a truck? No. What has God given you already to meet needs that you're ignoring? You know, oh, I've got a car, but I sure would like another one. If you need another car, God's going to provide you another car. I mean, there's families in this room right now that said, well, we had one car, we needed a second car, and God blessed us with a car. And there's different ways of that blessing. And sometimes God does say, you know what? Well done, good and faithful servant. Here's a new truck. And when God does that, see, just take the collection up now, okay? Get that truck for me, okay? Take that collection up for me. No. Yeah, exactly. But no, there's so many things that we're seeking in our lives. So many things that we're putting ahead of everything else. We get these delusions of grandeur with our children. We start going, ooh, look what he can do. I know where my retirement's coming from. Yeah, check that guy out. Yeah, you know, well, maybe not, okay? Maybe not. I'm sure that at one point my dad thought that when I was playing baseball, he thought, that boy's going to die. So that was a bad example. But no, but there's so many people out there that they're treating their children like retirement plans. And it's like, you know, the most important thing you can give your child is not a ride to the bowling alley. I'm going to pick on myself. It's not a ride to the bowling alley. It's a ride to church. The most important thing you can give your children is not teaching them all the averages of the Astros. It's teaching them God's Word. We need to get our priorities straight. You know, there's a lot of things in life that are fun, and there's nothing wrong with them unless you put them in front of God. Once you put them in front of God, now they're wrong. And you've got to understand that. You've got to realize that. That's your call as the parent. And I'm not going to try to sway anyone. I'm just simply saying, what are your priorities? Are you putting God first, or are you putting the world first? And that's what you're teaching your children. Unintentionally, that's what you're teaching. Well, we go to church some. We every once in a while we're in church. It's good. So I'll use a line from War Room. Do you go to church occasionally because your pastor only preaches occasionally? You know, where are your priorities? You've got to prioritize your life. And Chris, don't leave. I got one more for you, brother. This man right here. What time did you get off work this morning, Chris? I haven't worked yet. Okay, but normally on Sundays, 8 o'clock in the morning, he gets off work and then he comes here. Chris has his priorities straight. I'm not elevating Chris, don't get me wrong. I'm just simply stating Chris's priorities are right here. With God's people serving, we need to determine, what are your priorities? What's your list? What are you doing? What are you teaching your children? What are you teaching your neighbors? What are you teaching your friends with your life? Are you here saying, hey, look, I ain't got no money, but I got time for you. I don't have any money, but I've got some intelligence, some knowledge I can give you. I can empathize with your situation. I'll be happy to talk to you. I'll be happy to pray for you. Sometimes we can empathize with a situation. Sometimes we can only sympathize, but we are there for the person. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to reach out and do that? You know, One of the last three things that I'm going to give you that you can give others. Your testimony. You can share that with others. And your testimony is unlike everybody else's. I mean, one of the greatest testimonies that has ever been is and specifically for the students, one of the greatest testimonies you can ever give is, I've never got into that mess of the world. I was protected from it. I didn't get involved with it. Maybe it was homeschooling, whatever it was that it took to keep you out of that mess. I didn't get involved with it. I got saved at an early age. I'm doing the things that God wants me to do, and I'm walking in His will. Great. That is 0.000000001% of us. The rest wallowed in the mess and the muck and the mud, and we have something to share. It's a little dirt, but I'm going to share that because I see you heading that way, and I know how God got me out of it, and He'll do the same for you. Folks, I'm not perfect. Far from it. I know what it's like to be in the shoes of an alcoholic. And if you're struggling with something like that and you need someone to talk to, I'm here. I understand, in college, I majored in chemistry. Never went to chemistry class. I think you'll understand what I'm saying. And if you're struggling in some of those areas, I will be happy to talk to you about it. I am not a recovered alcoholic. I am a redeemed alcoholic. God saved me from that life, and He'll do the same for you. If there's something going on, and to those who are watching right now, if there's something that's in your life, if there's a problem, you folks also, come here. Come here. I don't want to steal from Jesus Revolution, the movie, but those doors are open. If you're an outcast, if you're watching this, you stumble across this video, and there's stuff in your life that has you just thrown out, and people don't care about you. We do, because Jesus does. If there's problems in your life and you have no one to go to, you do now. It's called Autumn Creek. You've got a place. You've got a family. If your family has shunned you, we will take you in. Anything that's going on in your life, if you're just not the same, there's things in your life that's going on and you don't know what to do with it, come here, because we've been through it. Jesus Christ came into this world to pay the price of sin once and for all. All sin. Not just a few little pointed sins. I'm not dying for this, but I'll die for this. He died for all sin. There is no sin that you can be involved in that can separate you from the love of God. He loves you. He died on the cross for your sins. He was buried. He did die. He gave His life. He willingly shed His blood for the cost. The wages of sin is death. But the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. He paid that price. He gave you that gift. And then He rose from the dead 3 days later, victorious over death, hell, and the grave. And He gives you that victory today. And by the power of the Holy Spirit, you have that strength. You have that ability to come to Him and accept Him and live in a life that is of peace and joy. It's not always great. It's not always good. There's problems. There's struggles. We all have them, but we go through it together. The biggest difference in this world between there's two kind of people in the world. Saved and lost. Not male and female and all that, okay? Saved and lost. We're worried about getting those lost people onto the other side. Saved and lost. And the biggest difference is, for the saved people, when you go through struggles, when you go through troubles, when you go through problems, for the saved people, you have someone to go through it with. For the lost people, you go through it alone. I had to tell a man one time recently, told me he was an atheist, and I told him I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. I just don't. Because if you're an atheist, you have to believe that there is nothing after this life. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. because this book right here tells me that there is something more. And the only way to get that more is through accepting Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. And if you have family that hasn't accepted Christ, you tell them. You don't let them your head hit the pillow tonight before you tell them about Jesus. If you have friends that don't know Jesus, same thing. If you're not comfortable, tell them. You bring here, and we'll tell them, and we'll love on them, and we'll help them, and we'll do everything we can for them, and we will draw them into this family. That's what we're here for. Band, if y'all want to come on. If you have never accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, today's the day. The Bible says that today is the day of salvation. Don't wait. But let me go further. Some of you may be in here. Maybe you heard something today that cued something in your mind. You may have been playing church for a long time. You may be going to church, and that way people know I go to church. And that's why you're here. And you've never truly, truly accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior. Don't trust, I think. If your answer is not, I know, get it settled. Settle it. Don't think that you're a Christian. You need to know that you are a Christian and you are walking with Jesus Christ, and He is at the center of your life, and He is the Lord of your life, sitting on the throne of your heart. If you don't know that, get it settled today. What Jesus did on the cross of Calvary for you was because of His great love. And He wants to give you that love. And all you have to do is accept it.